Hi, Giles. So we're trying to give everybody a little update here on what's going on in Afghanistan. For those of you who are not aware, Gishers raised about $250,000 to fund emergencies children's ward trauma center in Kabul, Afghanistan, and we did that big fundraiser about 10 days before Kabul was fell to the Taliban, and the U.S.'s withdrawal sort of collapsed the current Afghan government I think, quite a bit more precipitously and quickly than pretty much anyone anticipated. So a lot of people have been asking, where is that money going now that the circumstances in Afghanistan have changed so radically, so quickly? And you and I have chatted a little bit about. I thought maybe you could download for folks the status of emergency, the status of the children's ward, where kids who are victims of trauma related to gunshot wounds or IEDs are treated for free in Kabul. Yeah, if you could just give us an update on that, and I guess where the money that we raised is going right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, anybody watching the news in the last 10 days will have been shocked by the scenes at Kabul airport. As you said, the country collapsed. I think people thought it would happen, that the Taliban would regain control, but I don't think anyone happened this fast. And it's shocking to see the absolutely tragic scenes. And unfortunately, I think those scenes will get worse as those flights finish. There are many people that need to escape, that have to escape for their lives, and many that won't. But what I want to do is just talk about what Emergency is doing. Emergency, this Italian NGO that is got hospitals not just in Kabul, but in places like Panjshir, Lashkar, and also medical centers across the country. And I want to reassure people that their work will continue. They actually
to reiterate for those who aren't in the loop here, Emergency is the organization where all of the money that we raised is going, and specifically, yes, we earmarked it for the children's ward in Kabul.
Yes, so Emergency is this Italian NGO who is our partner on this project. They have been operating in Afghanistan since 1999, which means actually they originally operated under Taliban rule. So they've been there for a long time. They've treated 7 million Afghans, which is about 1 in 4 of the population in those 20-something years. So they're very, very respected by all sides in Afghanistan. And they've been reassured that they are able to carry on their work even under Taliban rule. Likewise, ICRC, Médecins Sans Frontières, there are many organizations that are still operating there on the ground. And I want to kind of reassure people that the safety of the staff, the nurses, the people that we are supporting is as assured as it can be in a conflict zone. And I would also want to say that the need is still there, that the Taliban takeover of the country does not bring peace, that there is still fighting going on in parts of the country. And also to remember that many of the injuries of the children in the hospital that we're supporting come from things like landmines and IEDs, what we call legacy injuries, which are weapons that have been left there for generations that the kids pick up, that get injured by. So the need is still there, the team is still there, the work will continue, and sadly is going to be more vital than ever in the months ahead. So I can't really put in words. I was, as many of you will know, I was in Afghanistan just about 5-6 weeks ago. I was sat there with these injured children, and as I see the chaos of the country and everything on the news, it brings back what these young people are having to go through. If you can imagine, what you see on the news, imagine being a child in that. Imagine being a child that's been injured in that and being taken to a hospital miles away from your home. You don't have your family with you. Just the fear, the chaos, everything going on around. The emergency hospital is a place of sanctuary, safety, and the best medical care that they could possibly receive. And thanks to Gish, we're going to be able to support Emergency to keep giving that vital healthcare to children in their hospital in Kabul. And as I say, there's casualties coming in. They've been dealing with casualties actually from the airport, but also casualties from across the country. I think it's important for people to understand that as well. It's not just children injured in Kabul, but across the country, they're evacuated to the emergency hospital.
And you said, there's still need, but in fact, there's even greater need, right? The
Yeah.
instances of injuries to kids have, of course, gone up in this chaotic moment.
Well, it's also the fact that the scale of obviously across the country, there's fighting, instability carrying on. There will be lots of incidents as well of different militias, different groups, even within Taliban fighting each other, but also, some NGOs and some organizations have had to pull out. There is increased problems in the hospitals that are Afghan hospitals for them getting supplies. If you imagine as well, think about how much is needed to run a hospital, how many supplies are needed. Where do those supplies come in? Well, many of them come in by flights. Well, the airport right now is unusable. The road trips into Afghanistan are very hard. So, the hospitals that are there are struggling to function, which again means emergency is taking a greater workload.
And I want to reiterate something that you said earlier, but emergency has been operating in Afghanistan since 1999, when it was Taliban rule. The Taliban has recognized that the services that they're providing are invaluable to the kids and injured adults, frankly, in Afghanistan for a long time. So there's not like an ideological divide here that will keep the Taliban from allowing emergency to keep operating. And emergency also has the experience and the track record of being able to pipeline both supplies and funding into the hospital to keep it running during times of conflict, during times of Taliban rule, as well as U.S. ally governance. So we feel as confident as what we could be in this situation, that this is, to the best of our knowledge, the best place for us to funnel our financial resources to help in Afghanistan right now. And there's a tremendous need, and there are other organizations that are also doing good work. So it's not to say that there's no other good place to send money, but you have a long relationship with emergency. You have been in the hospital. The work that they do is really invaluable. And we can have a high degree of confidence that this is a good place for us to focus our attention. So right now, I'm donating more money to emergency. I know that you've given a tremendous amount of time, resources to them, and it's because of you that we were able to raise this $250,000. Frankly, like it was your connection there that enabled us to, have the confidence to do that. But if anyone wants to make another donation, that the need is very urgent right now. It's a heartbreaking situation in Afghanistan, and if you're registering for GISH right now, anyone who's registering, we're increasing the portion of registration that is going to fund emergency on our end. We're just trying to do everything that we can to help here. And frankly, it's not enough. Like, I wish we could do more. I wish, I don't know. It's heartbreaking to see what's happening to the people in Afghanistan, and it's terrifying, and it's just not fair.
No, and I think, getting to your point, I mean, obviously there's going to be great need for people that are being evacuated. So there will be, Afghans arriving in all sorts of countries, Afghans that never wanted to leave that country, people that were in tears having to pack up with what things they could carry and leave. So if you find, Afghans coming into your community, please reach out to them, because they are traumatized by their experience. Their families arriving, as they all around the world that will need support. So, we're able to do that in the months and years ahead. We will campaign as well for women's rights within the country. And as I say, we went there to do this project with GISH because people were not really talking about injured Afghans. And we highlighted that issue, weeks ago. And sadly, that's still something that's maybe not talked about so much, is the people who are being actually injured in this conflict. So that work is incredibly important. but let's do it alongside what all these other amazing organizations are doing. And as I say, if you find Afghans coming to your community, let's reach out, let's make them feel welcome and help them get through the trauma of what's happened.
Thank you, Giles. Yeah, I wish it was a more uplifting chat today, but I, again, appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much.
No, thanks. Good to see you.
You have a lot of friends in Afghanistan. Have you been able to communicate with any of them?
Yeah, and you know, I think anybody that has a connection with Afghanistan will tell you that that's the very difficult thing to deal with at the moment is friends, colleagues, you know, even acquaintances, people you have met even through social media, but any connections, people are desperate to you know, escape the retribution and revenge that is likely to come. And they're terrified. You know, the people, you know, we were with some of the nurses in the hospitals, you know, these nurses are 19, 20 years old. They have never known what it's like to live under Taliban rule, and they're terrified. And not being able to help people, not being able to get people out of that country, and just hearing their cries at the end of the phone is something, yeah, that you know, is hard to deal with, because like you said, I wish I could do more.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the update, and let us know if there is more we can do. You know, like we're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, I think, you know, we should all remember that in this incredibly, you know, traumatic time where we're seeing scenes of such such upsetting scenes, you know, we should remember we are doing something. You know, that the Gish community, even before this was on the news, was there trying to make a difference and showing solidarity with the children of Afghanistan. And, you know, it's overwhelming, but let's remember the good that we're doing, and we'll continue to do.
All right. Thank you. Good to see you.